The new year brings with it a new budget for East Longmeadow. Department heads are crunching the numbers, this time with even tighter restraints. The housing market in town is looking up. We break down the numbers and talk to a local realtor about the prospects for 2014. WGGB comes to ELHS. We talk to Principal Gina Flanagan about the spotlight on the Spartans. And the DPW has a new Zamboni of sorts for the ice on Heritage Pond. Lastly, Tom Cronin has your Spartan sports just ahead on ELCAT News Week in Review. Good evening, I'm Alexi Cohan. We begin tonight with a tough task for the town of East Longmeadow. Department heads are in the mix of creating their budget, and in the process, cuts may have to be made. The Town Appropriations Committee has asked all departments to cap any increases to 1%.
Usually in mid to late fall, the Appropriations Committee gets together and they look at the potential income that the town is going to have from the state and whatnot, and other receipts. Get an advanced look to try to estimate what's coming in, and then basically on that they determine any increase that they're going to, for lack of a better word, allow the departments to have. So this year, when they made all their assumptions, they told the departments to come in with a budget no higher than with a 1% increase.
A tall task, says Paul Federici, chairman of the Board of Selectmen. He says each department has been asked to come up with that 1% hardline budget and a wish list budget. So once the state finalizes the budget, if East Longmeadow gets more than what's anticipated, Federici says some of those wish list items may be reinstated.
It's one of those good news, bad news things. Yes, you're pleased that they come in that percentage, but I believe, like in the case of our town clerk, one of the ways he made it to the 1% is the suggestion of closing at noon on Fridays. I believe it's during June, July, and August. So that would be one of the cost savings. Our IT department, the one item that was cut was the Blackboard messaging system, which is basically the reverse 911 that calls people in the case of emergencies and whatnot. So we think that's an important item not to lose. So obviously, if there's any extra money that comes through the state, if we prioritize our department's needs, that's going to be right on the top of the list. But as it stands now, that's been cut.
Federici says budgets must be voted upon by the February 20th deadline in order to have the budget on the warrant for the May 19th town meeting. One way or another, town officials are looking for ways to cut costs without cutting on the quality of services. One idea that's come to light as of late is to merge the town's Human Resource Department with Ludlow's HR department. And just this week, the town of Hamden has approached East Longmeadow with a similar idea. Once again, we talked to Select Board Chair Paul Federici.
We decided to look at merging with another town and maybe sharing an HR person, so that way we get two things. It's at a reduced cost because you're not paying full-time, and then you get to see the benefit of it, and maybe at some future point when you see the benefit, you can present to get a full-time person in East Longmeadow. So the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission offered to do a study for us, and we had talked at a regional selectmen's meeting about possibly merging services for an HR person with Ludlow.
However, what the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission came up with was not exactly the solution the members of the Board of Selectmen had hoped for.
Instead of coming back and saying, yes, you could both share an HR person, what they suggested was that we share our employee benefits coordinator with Ludlow, which was about 180 degrees from what we had originally wanted. We sort of said, that's nice, with the study, but that we haven't done anything with that study. And subsequent to that, we were contacted by a Hamden selectman who I met with last week about the same subject. So we're in the infancy and discussing, possibly doing something with Hamden as far as sharing an HR person.
Federici says the idea of a human resources partnership with Hamden is just that right now, an idea. But he says the Board of Selectmen is exploring all other options. The East Longmeadow housing market is on the rise. The town's director of assessing tells ELCAT News close to 170 homes were sold in 2013. That's a big jump from 2012. Here are the numbers. In 2013, 167 single-family homes sold and 6 condominiums. The previous year, 2012, 137 single-family homes sold, 6 condos. That compares to 2011, when only 116 single-family homes were sold in town. ELCAT's Michael Nevin sat down with local real estate agent Michael Harrigan to talk about the numbers, what they mean, and the future of East Longmeadow's housing market.
It is getting better. That if we go back 4 years, 5 years, there were difficulties in the housing market here and generally speaking in Western Mass. However, we see a trend in the last 3 years of improvement. So we went from 2 years ago of 137 in terms of the number of sales to last year of 167.
East Longmeadow real estate agent Michael Harrigan believes people are buying in East Longmeadow thanks to lower interest rates, a better overall economy, and because he says families realize East Longmeadow is a very desirable community.
I do. Right now, I think interest rates are favorable. I think the economy has improved. I think people have a more optimistic view of the economy and perhaps their jobs. And quite often, for individuals to move to East Longmeadow, they might be selling their starter home in another area. So that has to sell in order for them to move. But right now in East Longmeadow, there's 72 single-family homes on the market. And the prices range from, $130,000 to $900,000.
Harrigan says East Longmeadow has a home for just about everybody.
There's a wonderful over 55 community right over on Chestnut Street, and that's drawing quite a few individuals, and there's quite a bit of land there. There's also many homes that would appeal to families, some larger homes out near the Summers line, some beautiful homes. And there's still land available.
Harrigan thinks East Longmeadow attracts families because of its location, its schools, and a few other things that separate it from the surrounding communities.
I think families are attracted to East Longmeadow because it has a very good school system, a very good recreation program. It's the location is desirable as well, that in terms of access to the highways and to Connecticut and so forth. So it's just a nice, solid community, I think, that would appeal to a large number of people. Longmeadow is a beautiful community, but the tax rate is higher, Wilbraham is a beautiful community, but it's more difficult to get to. So here we have easier access, and we have many of the features that a family would be looking for. I think the tax rate is reasonable. It is a case where people want to live where the location is good, the community is good, the investment is good, and I think we meet that criteria.
For ELCAT News, I'm Michael Nevins.
The safety on Heritage Pond continues to be an issue this winter. However, with such cold temperatures, these last few days are expected to continue. The warning signs are down. The DPW says the ice is 5 inches thick and ready for skaters.
Yeah, right now we have about 5 inches of ice. We've taken the unsafe skating sign down and replaced it with skate at your own risk sign.
In fact, the DPW has been out plowing and using a makeshift Zamboni to keep the ice smooth.
What we do, weather permitting, is we'll shovel the snow off the pond when we have to. We'll sweep it with a broom, and then we'll put a thin layer of water on it with a homemade Zamboni and make this like a park in here, skating like Madison Square Garden. And it does a great job if we're able to get to it before, weather kicks our teeth.
They do have one request.
The best thing that people can do is to not shovel the snow when they want to go skating. I know they want to get out here and use the pond, but when they shovel the snow and leave little piles that we can't move afterwards, it just makes it impossible for us to groom it the way we'd like to. So I know that they want to get out, but they need to wait for us to do it. When they leave those mounds of snow in our way, we can't do the whole thing with our equipment. We can't go over those mounds of snow. We usually can't move them. And so once they do that, they're here to stay. Those piles of snow that they leave insulate the ice from the cold weather, and they'll start melting right under there, and sometimes it breaks right through and water will appear on the ice. And again, it makes it hard for us to do our job.
If you have any questions on whether the ice is safe for skating, contact the DPW or look for the signs posted at the pond. In other news tonight, East Longmeadow High School will soon be in the spotlight. WGGB TV channel 40 will showcase ELHS live during its morning news program on February 28th. This February 28th, the Spartans will be in the spotlight. ABC 40's Honor Roll series will be featuring our very own East Longmeadow High School and all it has to offer. Principal Gina Flanagan lays it out for us.
Well, they called us because we were selected to take part in their Honor Roll series. And basically what they do is they highlight different high schools throughout the area during their morning broadcast that lasts from 5 a.m. to 7. And so what they're going to be doing is throughout the morning broadcast, they're going to cut to East Long Meadow High School. And so we'll have different groups represented, and a bunch of our students will be in the background and just talking about all the great things that we do here at the high school.
Clubs, teams, and of course the staff and students will be highlighted in this series.
A bunch of our students will be in the background and just talking about all the great things that we do here at the high school. So for example, we're going to have the Environmental Club do a segment. We were awarded the Recyclers of the Year for Western Mass, so they'll talk a little bit about their program. Multicultural Club will do a segment, the band, so different clubs and different academic areas will be represented.
Students and teachers are going to be up early.
Well, it's at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm hoping to get as many people in, but we promised to have like donuts and juice and stuff like that to get people in. But, you know, I was watching some of the clips from the other high schools, and I know for a fact that we have way more school spirit, so I'm hoping to get as many kids here as possible. I think it's just a great opportunity for us to show the entire Pioneer Valley why we are the best high school in the region.
Flanagan is looking forward to the event and hopes it'll be a great experience for both the school and viewers at home.
I hope that they see that our kids are really, really active, very compassionate, well-spoken, and have a lot of school spirit and really connected and committed to taking a part in their community. That's what I'm hoping for. And, we're really thankful to all of our club advisors and our teachers for giving kids the opportunity to showcase all these great things that they're doing.
Turning now to Spartan Sports, a big week for teams with a lot on the line. Tom Cronin is here with a look.
Thanks, Lexi. The East Long Meadow men's and women's track team were in action on Friday, January 24th at Smith College against Central and Amherst. The men lost both matches while the women stay a dominant force in Western Massachusetts and take down the Golden Eagles and the Hurricanes. The next matches for the two squads are on January 31st against Agawam and the Chickadee Pacers. In the pool, the men and women split at home as the men beat Northampton while the women lost to the Blue Devils. The men are now 5-4 and the women are 2-6-1. The next meet for the two squads is coming on the 28th against the arch-rival Lancers. The Spartans came out with a slim victory over the Beavers of Putnam 37-36 on the wrestling mats on the 22nd of January and improved to 4 games over 500 at 8-4. To the ice we go, and East Long Meadow didn't slip at all. The Spartans went 2-0 this past week, beating the Falcons of Minnechaug 6-1 in a big upset at Olympia against the Westfield Bombers 2-0. The ice hockey team is now 6-4-2 on the season, and the upcoming schedule for the hockey team has West Springfield on the 30th of January and the 1st of February against Minnechaug. On the court, the Lady Spartans lost at home to the Lions of Ludlow 50-45, an unexpected loss to say the least, and the girls fell to 5-6 on the year, 5 wins away from a playoff berth. The girls' next game will occur on the 28th against Minnechaug. For the men, they lost at home as well, but against Northampton 73-50. A game East Long Meadow would like to forget. They came out on January 27th to face the Pacers of Chickadee and got the L in that one too. A tough stretch for the Spartans as they fall to 5-7 on the year. Neil Gagnon and I called the game and have this courtside wrap-up.
I think East Long Meadow did a pretty good job today.
Well, it's a huge heartbreaker. You know, they lose to a 4-7 team at home. And like I said, the record really doesn't matter. But you definitely don't want to lose 2 straight home games. They lose this one 64-61. They had the momentum for, you could say, 3/4 of the game. Then that fourth quarter really went to Gutierrez and Walker for the Pacers. Pacers walk out of here with the W, and the Spartans unfortunately come out of here with the loss.
And as we said, AJ came injured after when he made that clutch 3-pointer there at the end.
There's nothing wrong with him. Don't worry about him. He's fine.
And again, Luis Rodriguez also had a big game, but also missed 2 free throws. We almost came back there at the end, but Ricky Dixon's 3-pointer just came up a little short.
Yeah, surprising how Luis Rodriguez can have 21 points, but then miss 2 crucial free throws at the end. You know, that's just how basketball plays its way. And, you know, it's the beautiful game of basketball, if they say, you know. So Luis Rodriguez, again, having an excellent night with 21 points overall. Would have been, you don't know if East Long Meadow would have won if he sunk those 2 free throws, but it would have made it a better shot.
Also, Richard fouling out was a big point.
Yeah, huge point. I mean, I nicknamed him Beast Mode this year. Richard Ukalakaranyi has had an excellent year down low for the Spartans, creating offensive rebounds, creating turnovers on the defensive side as well. That definitely hurt East Long Meadow.
The boys' next game is Friday, January 31st at home against Minnechaug. That'll do it for ELCAT.
That'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for watching ELCAT News Week in Review. I'm Alexi Cohan. Good night.